Welcome to another episode of Players Ball Podcast for AT Aliens, also by AT Aliens. I'm your host, Alex the Great. I'm joined by my brother from another, as always, as I shift,
Hmm.
like I said I wouldn't do. Trying to get, um, man, we got a lot to talk about. Some lighthearted things that may not be that lighthearted. A lot of Falcons talk. And we're gonna tease our next Netflix watch, maybe two, if you guys stay around to the end. So stick with us. We're gonna jump right in, man.
We got traffic incoming, covering all the biggest news in ATL sports, no matter the lane, no matter the highway. Let's get into it with Spaghetti Junction.
So there's something strange going on in this world, man, and we got front row seats to all of this goofiness, dog. So there is a crypto group that is throwing dildos on the WNBA courts. They claim to not have any ill will, that they just want to bring attention to a toxic crypto environment that they've been in. I ain't buying it. What's your take initially, like hearing that? I'll read you the actual quote. It says, and I quote, "We didn't do this because we dislike women's sports or like some narrative that's trending right now or ridiculous. Creating disruption at games is like it happens in every single sport, right? We've seen it in the NFL, we've seen it in hockey, fans doing random stuff more or less to create attention. We knew in order to get our voice in the space, we had to go out and do some viral stunts to save us from having to pay that influencer cabal, sacrifice our souls, and the fate of the project." Let's end quote there. So they're throwing dildos to bring light to their crypto coin, which is called Green Dildo Coin, DILDO, for those who want to go and buy it. I'm not sure where it's available. Maybe it's on not GitHub, Bybit. Bybit's the one where they have all of the goofy stuff is there. So not a plug, and also not financial advice. What's your thoughts on their approach to going viral?
Insubordinate and childish.
Very well said, Mr. Garvey.
No, but on a real note, it is wild. My initial impression when you started reading, the quote was they couldn't choose a sport with more views,
Mm, right? Why not throw it at a MLB game?
right? I mean, the Dodgers, the Yankees, some of these big national broadcast sports games, markets would have been a pretty good place to get that viral nature. I mean, I think they accomplish their goal anyways, just because of how outlandish it is.
Right.
But it's hard to believe that that was their sole purpose, and that there wasn't some other, kind of motive with the nature of it being a adult novelty item generally used by women. Thrown at a women's sporting event, right? Like there is some connection there. There's also a very high population of LGBTQ players in that sport, so I am not necessarily buying the story.
Yeah, me neither. It's BS. They could have done it somewhere else. Now I imagine I haven't seen a fan get away with, and they've been caught. A lot of them have been arrested. There's been 6 incidents. The reason why it's relevant for us, one, we want to talk about women's sports more, but two, the first incident happened here in Atlanta, Georgia, at a Dream game. Um, but I can't think of a time where an item was thrown on the baseball field and the person didn't get caught. But if they're getting caught, then nonetheless, I mean, there's cameras everywhere in every sporting facility. So they're gonna get caught. To your point, why not throw it at the battery, right? I don't get it. It had to have some type of effect on the meeting. We know the crypto world in general is highly toxic masculinity. Like the crypto bros, just the general language that I'm familiar with because I'm in the space, but it's it's not welcoming to women. So to start throwing dildos at a WNBA game, dog. Now you had ulterior motive than just going viral. You could have went viral to your point, doing it anywhere else. So yet another yet another occurrence in 2025 that's it's like the clowns, the circus is running rampant.
Yeah, I didn't have this one on my bingo card for the year.
I did not. I did not. I want to make a Diddy joke because you said it's just for women.
No,
We're gonna
I
stay
didn't
away
say it
from
was
that.
just for women. I just
You
said
said largely. Yeah. No, just your
yeah,
statement was fair, but without diving into debauchery, I think we can move on.
yeah. Enough said.
Yeah. I think that's the only highway we need to cover, dog. Let's talk about some Falcons.
From the gridiron to the hardwood, you know you got to keep your eyes on the birds. Let's talk Hawks. Let's talk Falcons. This is Hootie Hoo.
Oh man. So um there was our first preseason game on Thursday or Friday. Yeah, football has officially returned for Atlanta specifically. The Hall of Fame game was earlier in the week last week. So preseason game did occur. Our game, unlike many others, unlike any others, did not finish. It was suspended due to an injury, and if I can give you a recap of that, it was quite dramatic, and I had never seen anything like that before. So I don't know what the broadcast. I know a little bit about the broadcast. I was texting Will, my cousin Will, and he was watching. He was telling me that they said that he had a neck injury. So I saw him. I didn't see what happened to him because the player that he tackled or somebody in the vicinity literally did a helicopter and
Mm.
was thrown around. I was like, oh man, what happened to that guy? But he was laying on the ground and I saw his legs start to shake. I was like, oh man, it looked like bro's having a seizure. Um, and then I was there with my father-in-law. He didn't necessarily see him shaking, but the lady next to him was like, "Yeah, yeah, I saw that too." I was like, "Oh man!" But then they immediately all the staff surrounded him. All the training staff from both sides came out, and they were looking at him. Then you saw um, his jersey shredded, thrown out of this circle of like 20 people surrounding this young fella. Then you saw his shoulder pads kind of like flinged out. I'm like, oh man. And somebody grabbed a defibrillator. I said, no way. So they had, how they bring out the carts. Obviously, they had the back brace with the head, and they had all of this stuff out there. And at one point, the training staff just started like saying, wrap it up. Like three people on the training staff all started doing that. And the small carts backed up and an ambulance came in. Granted, there was at no point during any of this was there any announcement. It was completely silent, except for fans exchanging thoughts on what was happening. There was no announcement over the PA to say that he was that there was a spinal injury or anything like that. So when the ambulance came out, and then there's all these people still surrounding him, you can't even see them put him on the board and into the ambulance because of all the people. So they slid him in. Not to be gruesome, my initial thoughts was that he had passed away right there on the field.
Mm.
Right. Because after that, the players all come together in a circle and they pray, which is dope. Shout out to Big God and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. They prayed and then I can't think of his name. The Atlanta quarterback, the fourth string, he snaps the ball. Emory Jones. He snaps the ball and then they just stand there and everyone's just the two sides are just kind of talking. Right. No one's trying to tackle. No one's trying to take the ball or anything like that. And they did that for 8 minutes before they eventually, the referee finally comes on and says, we are suspending the game. Still no announcement of what happened to the player. And I'm texting like, man, I don't know if this guy. I text, well, I was like, I don't know if he's alive because he made a he made a joke. He said, "90s football would never." But and update. Last I checked, he had mobility in his hands and legs, and he's able to move, and he's out of the hospital. So prayers up to that guy for recovery. I'm glad he's not paralyzed or worse. But that was something that I had never seen before. An ambulance come onto the field, and then just leave with a player kind of in silence. And it was very, very off-putting. Uh, just because you don't without any news, you don't know what actually happened to this guy. So
Yeah,
it was
that's
wild.
a crazy scenario. Thank goodness everyone seems to be okay and at least in recovery, and there weren't any more serious injuries or ailments or even life threatening turn of events. But yeah, like I can definitely understand just not knowing anything being a weird situation to be in. But at the same time, it's like, does that player deserve the privacy? I think so, right? Like, you would expect maybe once the situation was under control and they left, maybe there would be an announcement that they're, I don't know. I don't know how you treat that situation any better to leave, fans with any different feeling, I guess, leaving the venue. But I thought it was a classy move by both teams, to come together and do the prayer circle, but also to basically decide that they were just going to let the clock run out. Because that's what happened, right?
Right.
Like he snapped the ball, nothing happened. They were just going to let the clock run out.
Hmm.
And then New York, eventually called the game. I thought that was a class move. It is preseason, right? Like there's no reason to go out there and risk anything else, especially with his teammates and maybe even some Falcons players who were involved in the incident, just maybe not being in the right state of mind, um,
Yeah.
and risking something else. So like I thought that was a classy move, but yeah, I don't know as a league. Um, or as an organization, what you can do in that situation, um, for fans that are in the stadium, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
such an extreme scenario.
It's very nuanced, right? And I was texting Will. I asked him about Damar Hamlin. Did he remember an ambulance coming out to get him off the field? Neither one of us did. That doesn't necessarily say that it did, but you know, one of the little a light, a little glimmer of hope that you have is the player, being able to like raise his hand as he's going into the locker room, and we didn't get that. And to your point, I don't know what they could have done, but speculation runs rampant when you have no information.
Yeah,
Right. So I wasn't the only person that thought this guy might have passed away on the field.
yeah,
Right. And that's something that I can't imagine how the players were feeling and not finishing the game. I get that for sure. But me as a person too, that impacts me in the stands. Like I don't want to see anybody get hurt like that or lose their life. And it's a dangerous game. People have died playing football.
yeah.
Um, but watching it what I update was like, man, that's crazy. His name is Maurice Norris. So shout out Maurice Norris. Wishing praying a full recovery for you, my brother.
Yeah.
Uh,
Prayers.
best wishes.
But there was, before this incident happened, right? 3 quarters
Hmm.
of ball. Um, our number one and number two quarterback did not play. So before I get your opinion on the 3 quarters that did transpire, I just kind of had this question. You mentioned the Hall of Fame game. There were some big name quarterbacks out there. Joe Burrow, who got a lot of play. Justin Fields got a lot of play. So I just want to get your thoughts on no Michael Penix and no Kirk Cousins.
I completely disagree with it. Um, when you have so the Bengals, right? They've been notorious for the last couple of years of having slow starts. This is a move for them to try to get out of that, right? Joe Burrow started, to your point. I saw Bryce Young started. There were so many quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks in the NFL that played week one of the preseason. And I think if you're not doing that, I've always been a fan. Like, give them a couple series. Give them. I want a quarter, honestly. Um, and I know that that puts the player at risk. We saw a player get severely injured in the preseason game, but there's nothing like live action against an opponent. Right? When we were at training camp, we saw some fights, but they're not even tackling.
Right.
You need some live action in order to start getting ready for the season. And I think that's a disservice to the players, specifically to Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins, especially if, when we were watching the quarterback, how complex Zach Robinson's system is. To run it live against an opponent has so much value to me that you risk that injury. You had to start them for a little bit. And I'm disappointed that they didn't. And to see all these other starting quarterbacks do it, it makes it even worse.
So
What do you say?
I agree with you. I know it's kind of Raheem Morris's MO, right? It was Arthur Smith's MO that your starters didn't play in preseason because of the risk of injury. But I tend to agree with you. Now I saw some interesting like counter not truly counter arguments, but at least people that could rationalize that like, Michael Penix, it's his second year under Zach Robinson, right? Like he's not a new quarterback on a new team with a new coordinator, right? Get that.
Hmm.
We've made those mistakes in the past, right? Not even giving those guys reps, AK Kirk Cousins, right? Um, but in our situation, the fact that we've missed the playoffs multiple years in a row, we've had very small, like very, very slow starts. Last year, uh,
Yeah, that Pittsburgh game was awful. We
right.
scored no offensive points, or
So,
just field goals. We scored no offensive touchdowns.
right. Um, so those being considered, and the fact that we're playing a division opponent week one, I feel like you have to get them reps. I don't think it's the same thing, practice versus game time action, even if it's, a glorified scrimmage game. You're seeing different concepts, right? Like they're starting tomorrow. We're joint practice with the Tennessee Titans, which I do think is a valuable addition to the training camp uh, calendar, because you can't just go against your own team week after week and expect to truly get better, right? You have to see
Right.
different looks. You have to see different personnel. It's just not the same. You want, as best as you can simulate game action with all those other things at play. So I disagree with not giving Penix any time, but I think I more disagree with not playing Kirk Cousins. And hear me
Hmm.
out. What if you're a GM and you're on a team that may be in need of a QB? What questions are you going to have about Kirk Cousins?
Is he back? Is he healthy? Can he throw? That's a huge and beautiful point that you just made, my brother.
So, by not playing him, you diminish his tradability potentially, or at least what you could get in return, because you're not showcasing his health. He went through a very rough stretch at the end of last year, and he needs to prove to other GMs that he has moved past that he's back to Kirko chains, swag surfing, whatever, uh, so that we can get max value.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Nothing to add. No notes.
That's rare.
Um, yeah, it is. I always have something to say. I will add that just some more notables that played: Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league, JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, Bryce Young, Jordan Love. All of these guys played in the preseason game. Who are we? to think that our he's not a rookie. I think he did play enough last year to not be considered a rookie, but who are we to think that he shouldn't be in there for, a number of plays on offense just to let that ball go. The other thing that I don't think you mentioned was when you play an opponent, there's an increased level of aggression, right? Not everybody's James Pierce Jr. when you're practicing, right? Just playing violently. The other opponent will.
That's
And
true.
I think that that's something that you can't simulate in practice. No one's going to friendly fire on somebody that they see in the locker room, they eat with, that they call a brother. They're not going to try to knock your block off. And that's something that you have to be aware of, right? You need to be alert. And your head's not going to be on a swivel as much if it's a bunch of friendlies out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's just hard to imagine that that's something that they can attain.
Great point.
So yeah, both of them should. Hopefully, both of them see some time at some point or another.
I think there's less likelihood that we see Penix and maybe even Kurt this week because of the joint practice, right? Like you essentially have the opportunity to have two preseason games, if you will, uh, from a combination of scrimmages to the actual preseason game. And I think that they won't be willing to take that risk of injury. So we'll see that, preseason is shorter now, only 3 games. So I think if we do see them or one or the other, it would come in week 3.
I think the joint practice is going to definitely allow for different simulated looks, right? But that physicality still won't be there as much as in the game. Like when they get on the field on Friday, it's going to be a lot more aggressive, probably way more because they're going to be chirping at each other and talking shit um, for 3 days straight without being able to really put hands on each other like that, right? Maybe they get into a scuffle, but if you want to lay the wood to somebody, you can't really do that in a practice, but you can do it in a preseason game. I want one of them guys to play in that preseason game. Whether it happens or not, to your point, is probably unlikely. But
Yeah.
if it's me, and I know they're listening, come on, put one of those guys in. To your point, advertise what we got with Kirk, or let Michael Penix get some live game action, one of the two, or both.
So with that, who stood out to you on Friday night? You were in the building. You got to see
hmm
it live and in person. I have a couple that I thought kind of stood out on film. Uh, but what say ye?
Demarco Hellams was out there. He was everywhere, but he was hitting. And I didn't recall. I heard it on the radio after we were leaving that he was out all last year. He got hurt. So to see him flying around and hitting people, and we got a flag on a very legal hit, which I thought was super soft on the referees. But he leveled a couple of guys out there, and he was very involved in a bunch of different plays. That's the one. The other one was not Chris Blair. It was a wide receiver, number 81.
It's funny you bring up Chris Blair because he was one that stood out to me on tape.
No, I wouldn't. Oh, it's Dylan Drummond is his name. Dylan Drummond was great as a possession receiver. I do think that the former that I mentioned, he did play good, but I think Dylan Drummond had some great catches. Chris Blair had a fire sideline catch that really stood out. So it does seem like maybe we do have a third and fourth wide receiver option. I didn't know that Darnell. Oh no, we do still have Darnell Mooney. Rondell Moore. This is a quick segue. Rondell Moore. We signed him on a 1 year deal. We traded Desmond Ritter and signed him for a 1 year deal. He got hurt in preseason last year and went down. Didn't see any game action for us. He was since traded to Pittsburgh and he went down again for another season-ending injury. So that's another guy, man. We want to raise him up because that's tough. Um, Mike Johnson on 92.9 The Game was talking about his back-to-back injuries and how, like, even just from a mental standpoint, how debilitating that can be.
I heard
Um,
the segment this morning, and he said, he experienced that once in his career, and that's when he decided to hang up the pad. So
yeah. So, nah, shout out to him. But yeah. And lastly, I would say, Mr. Easton. Easton had a good game, man. He delivered a couple of good balls. So I would say those are my three: Easton Stick, Dylan Drummond, and Demarco Hellams. I think they perform well, and they should. Well, I don't want Easton Stick to see any time, but I want them to make the team. Those other two gents, maybe they actually see some time during the regular season.
yeah, I don't want to see Easton Stick get some game action. But I do think his performance makes you question whether or not we should carry three QBs on the roster.
Mm,
And the reason I say that is unless something happens before week 1, Easton Stick's performance gives me more confidence that we can let Kirko go elsewhere and
hmm
still have a sound backup option in the event that it's absolutely necessary, right? Like right now, if something were to happen to Michael Penix, you got to feel pretty confident that you have a starter caliber QB backing him up. He is the highest paid backup in the league right now and will remain as such unless something happens or he's traded to be a starter somewhere else. So I do think Easton Stick's performance does, kind of bring those questions to light. What do you do with Kirk Cousins? Do you start trying to push him for trade sooner? I know the Colts and some other teams have some dicey QB situations.
hmm
Um, do you carry three quarterbacks because you believe um, Kurt will end up being traded during the season? Because I don't know if you try to practice squad Easton Stick, like I think he has the opportunity to walk and go elsewhere. Um, but yeah,
Could you practice squad Emory Jones though? Would be my next question. So I'm sure that what they had planned was to allow Easton, because that's how it was playing out. Easton Stick ran the first half. Emory Jones came in for the second half. Really, he didn't get in at the very beginning of halftime. I don't believe. I think Easton played a couple more series, but you wanted to see what he can do, and you didn't get that evaluation because they got no fourth quarter action, and he had only a couple of series in the third. So even more reason that they probably won't play Kirk or Mike in the next preseason game. But if you can get one of those guys, if you see enough out of Emory Jones, I think you could probably practice squad him. What do you think?
yeah, probably I do think, but he's got such limited snaps that like my confidence in him being able to be, a game ready QB in this league, I
Yeah.
just don't have that yet. And then
And Easton's played live regular season ball.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other standout for me, I know it was also kind of limited reps, but he made them count. Lenny Craig, and he was booming them kicks.
He missed one. He had one that would have been a 60 plus for sure, but he missed the other one.
He hit one from 57 that
hmm
looked like it could definitely hit from 60 plus.
Right.
So
And then he missed one from like 50 or 50,
mm.
49 or 50. And I was like,
Sure it
it's a
wasn't Young
little
Ho.
iffy. Nah, it was him.
I know.
Guaranteed. Yeah, yeah, it was him. It could have been Young Ho. So, I think that's another. So maybe Young Ho gets the next game. I
Yeah.
don't think his job should be guaranteed. I guess I do. We actually talked about that last week or maybe the week before. But, if it was truly injury that was nagging Young Ho, that he should be the incumbent and keep his job.
I still think he's got to earn it though, and I do think that he's going to get the next game, and maybe in the third game they swap reps. I don't know, but I think you got to give them both solid looks and go with the guy that's hot.
Yeah. Another preseason game anecdote. Not even an anecdote. It's about the actual team. We're gonna have a problem in the secondary, but like to see their twos and threes at times. Um, I don't know what's my man from Tennessee's name, the quarterback that they have.
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker. He got off on a couple of runs, which was discouraging because we saw that a lot last year. But he also had we had some trouble covering their wide outs on deep routes, and that was a issue we had last year as well. Now I know Jesse Bates, nor AJ Terrell were on the field, but there were some starters out there. I don't know who we're gonna start at the other safety. One, and two, I don't know who was starting at the other DB position. So it didn't look good. I mean, there were moments where it was just blown. Now the defensive front looked good, right? They was getting after it. Some of them got lucky. Like I don't know if Katie looks like he got smaller to me, which isn't great. Um, but the other guys, they played some good ball. I saw Taquan Graham was getting pretty active. I'll shout him out. Uh, Defensive line, the linebackers, they seem to be doing well. They didn't bust out any like running back runs, not huge ones. Quarterback got a little active, but that secondary dog, I got some concerns. We're gonna be in a lot of shootouts if that's the trend for the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be surprised if it's a struggle for this team, but we struggled with it last year. We really didn't do much to change the depth there, right? Like we didn't really go out and sign anybody. We didn't really have the money to. So we're just gonna have to roll with it and hope that some of those rookies come in big. Um, we did sign a rookie corner, Kobe Bryant, and another
Great name.
safety, which has a lot of upside. But they're rookies, right? Like they I don't think you sign someone undrafted free agent and expect them to be a starting corner, day one. So those
hmm
guys are going to need a little bit of time to get ready. So we're just going to have to wait and see how it shapes out there.
It does have currently on the depth chart. It has Mike Hughes on the other side of AJ Terrell. I'm a Mike Hughes fan. He's a solid tackler, which I think is very valuable for a cornerback now. Where his coverage comes in, I don't know. Clark Phillips, I'm a fan of as well. There was a guy that we brought back. Oh yeah, and you weren't a big fan of bringing him back. D. Offered.
He had a
So
nice little punt
kick,
return,
yeah. So
but
he's set up to be the punt returner, but he on the plays that we were kind of abused from an aerial perspective. I think at least one of the touchdowns, if not both, he was in the vicinity. So I do not want that man to necessarily see the field
outside of special teams.
from a cornerback position. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it looks like it's AJ Terrell, Mike Hughes, and then Clark Phillips will obviously be the nickel, and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson and Kobe Bryant.
I
We got
saw
some
I
studs.
saw Lamar Jackson get tore up on a play. But yeah, Kobe Bryant, and then I think it's Xavier Watts was the other
Xavier
guy.
Watts. Jordan Fuller is who they're showing it as the starter right now, but Xavier Watts is behind him. Whereas DeMarco Hellams looks like he's sitting behind Jesse Bates. So we'll see what shakes out there. Billy Bowman Jr. had a nice hit. He's a rookie that we got coming in, so we'll see what happens with him. They expect him to have at least a bit of time to play. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, man.
oh, Xavier Watts from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Nah, I didn't see his name a whole lot during the game, but I have seen his highlights when he was drafted. He looks like he's a boss.
yeah. Uh, so we'll just have to wait and see. It's exciting. Football's back. We got 2 more preseason games until the season kicks off. But there were some other games around the league, right? And I wanted to get your thoughts on a few because this draft was quite polarizing. We talked about it, I believe, ad nauseum. There was one feller in particular that garnered a lot of headlines, right? That would be Shadur Sanders,
Hmm.
picked by
Hmm.
the Cleveland Browns in their, 12 deep QB room, but he got a lot of play time. I think he played almost 3 quarters, if not 3 quarters, and he
Yep.
looked good. And he's still getting a lot of the headlines.
Yeah, I think it's clickbait more than anything. Everyone wants to talk about the Sanders, right? Whether it's Dion and his impact on Shador. The only one who's not getting any love right now is Shiloh. But Shador's always, as long as he's in the NFL, from here on out, he's gonna get the lights and the cameras and the action just because he sells tickets. Chicks dig the long ball. They and Sports journalism love viral players. So because of how he entered the league, because of who his dad is, they're gonna talk about him more. Whether that's fair or not is one thing. I don't think it is, but I do like that he actually is getting positive press as opposed to being bashed. I thought that was encouraging. His touchdowns were dimes, like
One of them I was surprised wasn't a pick, but it was because the ball was so well placed.
yeah.
Uh,
When you watch it from where he threw it, it definitely was like, "Oh, that was risky." But there was a end zone view where you could see like the cornerback, and I think the cornerback was here and the safety was up here, and that ball was just like right here in the
yeah.
basket, man. It was a beautiful pass. So,
And another one, I believe it was a tight end going down, kind of in the center of the end zone. So
hmm.
Shador threw the ball low, so the receiver just kind of slid and kind of basket caught it in the
Yeah,
chest. Perfectly executed pass.
yeah. Nah, his touchdowns look very good. He looked comfortable. He looks like he should have been in the first or second round and not the sixth.
So one of the other rookies that made his debut was a guy that it will forever, for better or for worse, be attached to Shador, I think, because a team chose to pick him above Shador, and that's Jackson Dart for the New York Giants.
Hmm.
He looked really good as well. I was very impressed. He did not get as much playtime in his debut, but his first drive, I believe he was like 8 of 12 for 90 something yards and a TD. Like he came
Hmm.
out the gate, throwing the ball really well. One thing I noticed kind of in both is they were throwing a lot of like screens, a lot of real short
Dink and
passes.
dunks.
Yeah.
Dink and dunks. Yeah.
It wasn't until later in the game where I think Shador started, opening up a little bit against some of the, you know, second and third, fourth string guys. Um, so it is what it is. Preseason, right? It's hard to really truly gauge what this would mean in a game. But he did well with the opportunities. I thought Jackson did well with his opportunities, and then another guy who went above all of them, who is here in Atlanta this week, that doesn't seem to be getting any press, is Cam Ward. He had an outstanding debut too. Very limited action for him, um, but he made it count, and he looked like he had found, maybe a favorite receiver to go to that used to don the red and black.
That's Calvin Ridley. So I didn't see that highlight, and I didn't see Cam Ward's number, which enforces what you're saying. Like he didn't get the necessary pub that he deserved. I definitely I saw Shador's, and then I saw Jackson Darts. Those were the two big ones. I get the CBS Sports email to my work email, so those were the two that they talked about, and then they bashed a couple others like Tyler Slow. Being drafted by the Saints as high as he did, they don't have a a solution. They don't know if he's going to be able to beat out Spencer Rattler. But yeah, so Cam Ward, he looked pretty good to you.
I thought out of the three, he definitely has the better tools, right? Like he's got the mobility and the zip on his ball is just like leaps and bounds ahead of the two other guys, right? Like
Mm,
he lets that thing fly. But I will
yeah.
say, I don't know the personnel in, Cleveland or even in New York, but I know the Titans don't really have it on the outside. So that I think may pose a problem for him. He was throwing to, was it Kenny Lockett and Calvin Ridley, which are some decent names, right? But like, is any one of those a true number one? Don't know. Um,
I think Calvin really still got some juice. If not a number one, he's fairly close. I think that's a solid. Lockett. There's another one that they have. I thought his wide receiver group was actually really good.
do
Thinking
they
about it.
still have D Hop?
No, no, he's with the Ravens or the Chiefs. He's with the Chiefs. Oh, they got Van Jefferson. So
He's
no,
not really a
was
true.
yeah.
uh,
They had yeah, maybe I was thinking of D Hop because he was with those two when they got Tyler Lockett and
Oh, I
Calvin
called
Ridley,
him
but now
Kenny
it's those
Lockett.
two. Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lockett, it's pretty close.
Tyler
We know who you're
Lockett.
talking about.
um,
And then Van Jefferson, yeah. Now, I mean, he's supposed to be a burner. He didn't do a whole lot for us at all. I want to show you this picture. Did you see the picture that I posted in the group chat, man, about the
oh
says
yeah, Deshaun.
look at but Joe Burrow, not Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco's face,
Yeah.
like he's so proud of his rookie.
Yeah.
He's ending the career. Oh man, I thought that was hilarious, bro.
Absolutely. But yeah, man, Cam Ward, I think he deserves a little bit more. I saw a viral clip that I say it's viral. Saw a clip on Instagram that gave me a little bit more to like about the guy. He was in a press conference interview, and apparently he's been in and out of the facility. He's been there early, and they have to kick him out at night to go home. And when asked about it, he said, "I watched my dad get up at 4 a.m. for a job he didn't like. So at least the least I can do is get up and put the work in for a job I do like." And that was really endearing to me personally. Um, so like I don't know, I'm silently rooting for the guy. Well, not silently. I'm telling you all about it. I'm rooting for the guy.
I mean, I know you had I know you Falcons through and through, but you had some, some Tennessee love
Oh yeah,
back in the day. You had a big, is it still in there? A big Titans helmet, right? Signed.
it's a little Titans helmet, but it is autographed. I was a big fan of Steve McNair, Eddie George,
Hmm.
Frank Wycheck, and Derek Mason, the Freak, Javon Curse. That squad that went to the Super Bowl in 2000, I believe, or
Man, you named
99.
a lot of people, dog. You gotta get you a Cam Ward jersey, huh?
No, 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 no. But I was a fan. That was the team. If there was any team outside of Atlanta, outside of the NFC, you know, I kind of pull for them in the AFC. There were some great battles between them and the Ravens back in the day. Heated rivalry. I always enjoyed watching me some Steve McNair, Aaron McNair plays back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. Some Eddie George versus Ray Lewis was epic as well. They had some good battles
Yeah.
going back and forth, thumping between the trenches, man. No, I can support that. I thought I rooted for that team as well, and I know we plugged it before, but there's a great Netflix doc about Steve McNair. Ending, I don't know how I feel about it, but I still thought it was pretty good. It was,
Leaves kind of ambiguous.
yeah. What was it called? The shooting of Aaron McNair or something.
Yeah, something about his career and all of the mystery surrounding his murder, death.
Yeah, the Untold, the murder of Aaron McNair.
Yeah, so definitely go check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, that's all I got for for the birds this week?
One more plug. I think maybe Trey Young might have got in Michael Penix's ear and had him, talk to some of his people. You talk to your people. I'm gonna talk to my people and have our people get together. Because Michael Penix is now an endorser of Adidas, like Ice Trade the Gang. He has released a commercial. I love it. I thought he's already, showing that he's a pretty charismatic guy. So shout out Michael Penix and his Adidas commercial. We'll plug that in the description so that y'all can check that out. Because advertising is it can be really fun. Marketing can be hilarious if done well. I think they did a good job with his first shoe commercial.
I will say, not. I guess it was probably last week during practice. There was a day that Michael Penix was mic'd up.
Mm,
Definitely worth a watch. Much more charismatic guy than I thought he was. Like
yeah,
he seems rather quiet, but you get him on a hot mic and he talking all kind of stuff.
yeah. In the commercial, go water, H2O, H2O. He starts. We'll let y'all watch it for yourselves. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It gave me the giggles. Um,
We haven't done
man, let's
this.
go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say we haven't done this segment in a few weeks. Um, but why don't we hop into some elevators?
From the parking garage to the penthouse, no one takes you on more highs and lows than Atlanta sports. Let's me, you, your mama, and your cousin too get on this elevator. Don't touch the button. We got you locked in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, highs and lows, man. What, what you start us off for the week or last 2 weeks? Because we didn't pod last week. What were your highs and lows, man?
My highs in general are just football being back. Uh, last season Falcons, Dogs. Like I spent the summer really tuning in to what was going on in Athens and what insiders were talking about, how practice was going, recruiting, all this other stuff. And this year I kind of set it aside a little bit. Like
Mm,
don't get me wrong, I still got my ear on the ground and I still peep things that come across, but I don't actively search it the way
yeah.
I did. Um, but within the last, 7 days, like football is only 2 weeks away. The NCAA season kicks off on the 23rd. Dogs season kicks off on the 30th. We're close, and there's something in the air. I'm getting excited about it. So that's kind of my high, just the excitement. Football season being back, getting you know plugged in. Checking out how scrimmages are going up in Athens. Training camp, preseason, you name it. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, there was we teased at the front that we were gonna preview. We haven't watched it just yet. Well, I watched an episode and I thought it was good. But there is a new Netflix show related to a lot of that. So it's gonna depict the SEC in all its glory. Any given Saturday is now out on Netflix, so we're gonna be watching that and giving you our review on that. Um, the one of the episodes was one of my highs. So the first episode, not to reveal it, but I don't think this show comes to be without NIL, and there's not a lot of praise or glory given to NIL. I think these players should be getting paid, right? The universities are getting paid, but if this show turns out as good as like a quarterback, because that's the style. It's behind the scenes documentary style film. Um, if it's as good as that, it was enabled by NIL, and they should give credit where credit is due. So we're gonna be watching that. We're gonna give you our review of that. Unfortunately, Georgia isn't in it. I don't know if they're gonna make an appearance because they did play in the SEC championship. So um, but so far it's interesting. It's engaging. And I'm a pivot way only similarities that it's on Netflix, man. I'm a pivot to my high, and it is a show called Building the Band
Oh,
on Netflix. Now, I am I'm somewhat of a songbird myself, right? I've been known to carry a tune. Those who know me know that that is true. I won't debate about it. I sing a little bit. Um, so I've always had a fascination with singing reality shows, right? Whether it's American Idol or The Voice or The Masked Singer. Um, I love a good competition. And when there's singing involved, I just think that that's, second only to sports as far as competing is concerned. And it's ahead of cooking. I like a good cooking competition too. But this show, Building the Band, hosted by AJ McClain of the Backstreet Boys, judged by Nicole Scherzinger of the Pussycat Dolls. This is the best singing competition show there's ever been made, bar none. It has everything. It has talent. It has top level performances. Has drama. It has a mean girl. It has like an unconventional band. It has your prototypical boy band. It has your prototypical girl band. And dog, it is so good. I finished it over the weekend, man, and that's been my high. I don't think I've you know, my sign of a good show is if when it's over or even during, I start researching things, right? So Liam Payne is a guest judge on a couple of episodes. I
rest in
start
peace.
Googling, yeah, R.I.P. Liam Payne. I start Googling him. Next thing I know, I'm spiraling to a One Direction playlist. Then I'm listening to their solo tracks, right? I know all the history now, and this all happened because of building the band. The other guest judge they have is Kelly Rowland, and she is hilarious, but also uh, incredibly honest with her critiques of the bands. Good judges are also a big part of having a successful singing competition show. They did good. They did really good with that show. Highly recommend Building the Band. I took some notes. Let me see if there's anything that I didn't say. Oh, shout out Frequency. And I'll leave that there. But it was a master class in singing competitions. The next thing that they had to do, because I don't think they incorporated that. I didn't watch it. If it was ever live, I didn't see it in that instance. So they got to bring in a bit of live voting on the when they get to the final rounds to let the people say
I,
who they had voting. There was like a crowd that voted, but you should push that out to everyone because the performances were that good, right? It had me thinking maybe I have a music career right now if I had joined a band, right? I was like, damn, man, maybe I should have joined a band. I could have, went the way of Justin Timberlake. And he's not the best singer. He can carry a tune, but he was the best in NSYNC.
he's very musically gifted outside of just singing. The artistry. There's
Eh,
a lot. I mean,
He's
not
he's been associated with one of the best producers in the game, and that's not something I want to take away from him, but I do want to say that contributed to his success.
um I just liken it to Pharrell, right? Like he's not the most vocally gifted individual, but musically he is the bar, right? Like goat
Yeah,
status, at least of our generation. So yeah, I mean it's a good show. I didn't watch episode for episode, but Tilly and Sarah were deep in their
oh, my girls, yes, yes, sir.
so I did catch a few episodes, caught the finale, right? Like caught some performances. There was a performance that I was like, this isn't even fair. I don't remember the name of the band, but it was one of the guys' groups. They performed an Usher song, and I was like, Buddy sounds just like Usher. It's like
Yeah,
listening to Usher perform his own songs. Like it's not fair. So shout out them. Shout out the
yeah.
show. It's good. Um, never heard you sing a day in your life. So we'll leave that there.
I mean, there's it's documented, well documented. So I need to post some behind the scenes of Alex the Great, on a karaoke stage of performing in front of hundreds of people, literally hundreds, right? And what's the biggest deal between going from 100 and 50, 60,000? It's not that big a
Same
jump.
thing.
Yeah,
Um,
exact same.
so all that, what's your low, man?
The Braves. uh, nah, I mean, I won't beat a dead horse because it is a dead horse, and I know we talked about it last week. I do know that was last week that this season is over. Um, but yeah, I had a rant last week on Liberty Media, and that video is making its rounds. Getting a lot of views, not a lot of comments, but I think people agree with me, and I just can't get off that sentiment, right? That we know we pretend to be the underdog in the city. I don't know if there's a conversation I had with you or one of our other boys, but we pretend the Braves pretend to be like this underdog, and how we try to. No, the Braves are supposed to be one of the best teams in baseball every year. We know that. The ownership knows that, but you know, they want to act like we have to come in under the radar every time. And no, we should be the best every year, or in the running to be the best every year.
I think it's Atlanta's, for whatever reason, I don't know the statistics. I don't know how they evaluate these things, but we're considered a smaller market than LA and New York, which I believe, but I find it hard to believe that Atlanta is a small or mid market, right? Like it's a
Hmm.
big ass city, with a lot of stuff going on, a lot of sports. We talked about it come through the city, World Cup, Super Bowls, Final Fours, you name it, we've had it. Olympics, like how many cities in the US can say that they've hosted the Olympics? Not
Hmm.
very many. So like I just find it hard to believe this concept of Atlanta being a mid market. But
If it's based on money or spend, I get it. But the same thing applies, right? We won championships. We had the 14 division titles in a row.
right,
We have all these sporting events that you're talking about in the city.
my point is that they may call us a mid market, but this franchise, the Braves, the history, the pedigree, like this is
Yeah.
not a mid market team. They should be up there as the best team in baseball year after year. And if they're not the best, they should be one of the best. And this team is one of the worst. Uh, we did have a good weekend. I'll give them that against a division rival in the Marlins. I hesitate to say rival because they haven't been much competition for us in the last century. But this year, they have a better record than us, and
Hmm.
we are one of the top bottom three teams in the NL, one of the bottom five teams in baseball, and there is a very plausible route to us being the worst team in baseball, earning the number one overall pick. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm with you. I don't want to beat that dead horse.
Yeah. It was, and just to beat it a little bit more, I didn't expect them to do anything that was going to wow me at the trade deadline. I did expect for them to try to make moves to prepare for next year. It literally, once the trade deadline stopped, Marcell Ozuna started raking again. Like, he was a big part of our success over the weekend. To know that he's just gonna walk at the end of this season is disappointing. I thought they should have done something. Maybe there wasn't anything out there, right? But now he walks for nothing, and the season is done.
I,
Anything's better than nothing.
I will say, just to end it on a positive note, Drake Baldwin deserves Rookie of the Year, and that's without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. There
Mm.
is 100% local bias there, but his numbers do speak for themselves. He's out there balling. I hate that it's in a wasted season, but hopefully we get some more Drake rake action next year. But go ahead.
I know he was in the running with somebody that had really good numbers. He should be in the running for sure.
There's
I don't
a
remember who that was.
I can't remember if he plays for the Orioles or not. They call him like Big Dumpy or something. He was the guy who won the home run derby. His home
Kyle
run,
Raleigh.
yeah,
Is he a
Kyle,
rookie?
I believe so.
Big dumper.
Big Dumper, yeah.
They say he's
Rookie,
dragging that wagon,
yeah.
which is a weird nickname.
uh, oddly enough, also a catcher, but he's absolutely, smacking the leather off the ball. So I would not be surprised if he wins it, but definitely.
Shout out to him, but he's actually not a rookie.
Oh, he's
I
not.
just looked it up, so that's good. Yeah.
Uh,
The search says that it's Isaac Collins
okay.
for the Brewers, who are the hottest and right now best team in
Yeah.
baseball. So
Baseball rookies are weird because it's based on service time and not actual like season
mhm.
potentially. How it falls. But yeah, man, shout out to Drake Baldwin and the year that he's having. Hope
Big
he
Draco.
yeah carry it into next season because we're gonna need a better year next year. Like no excuses.
Yeah, Mighty Mike, he's been firing off. We need you to start better, Mr. Harris, because I want you around. Um, Gotta have a better start out of you, brother,
Yeah.
because he balling right now.
But all right, man. It's been a good one. Y'all stay tuned. Next week we'll bring you some NCAA action. Review of some Any Given Saturday on Netflix. And
Mhm.
if you haven't already, hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We appreciate the support. I know a lot of y'all are coming. We got them subscribers up. 51, halfway to a century.
Whoop
Um,
whoop.
let's go. Um, but a lot of you that listen don't subscribe. So do us a solid, hit that subscription. It's free, nothing to you, but it helps support us and what we're trying to build in this brand, bringing you content each and every week. So we appreciate the support. Catch you on the flip.
Catch you on the flip. Bang, we out.